Hello and welcome back. It's the start of the 2028-29 season, and I've spent the past off-season retooling the lineup. There's been a couple of promotions from within the system, and also 2 free agent signings. For subtractions, the biggest departures were Sean Monahan and Kasperi Kapanen. I'm sorry Kasperi, I still remember that I made a promise way back when this all began, a promise to avenge the complete obliteration of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I did want to do it with you, but it just didn't work out. We at least did get a chance, but Arizona's on another level, and to try and get to that same level, I'll need to try something new. It's not you, it's me, and you and Monahan won't be the last casualties of the changes to come this season. Looking forward now, the first new addition is Bradley Wegworth. Not sure how good he's going to be, but he's a young winger with upside that I think can at least fill a role on the third or fourth lines. Next is Warren Fagel, who's here to help fill the void left by Kapanen, and add some experience to the lineup, as there's still many younger players on the team. I forgot to take snapshots of them, but the promotions from Belleville was center Samuel Lindekranz and winger Oliver Nadeau. I don't expect much from Lindekranz. This is basically his last chance audition in the role of an extra forward, and if he doesn't make it, I'll probably let him go. Nadeau meanwhile is a more interesting prospect. But of course what's even more interesting is that after 20 games we're in a nice spot. Let's hope we keep it. While these are early players' stats, it looks like all the new additions except Lindekranz are fitting in as nicely as I could hope, and that's why we're off to a good start. Here's the lineup for the next 40 games. And here's what Belleville is up to. Just a few weeks later our defense group was hit with injuries, forcing me to call up someone to fill the void. The person I chose was Emile Richer. When I drafted him I had high hopes, but he's sort of languished in the system and may even be regressing, so in the same spirit as the approach I'm taking with Lindekranz, I'm throwing Richer into the fire and watching what happens. It's his audition, and should he fail to rise to the challenge we might have to let him go. The player we're down is Jake Sanderson, so here's the new lineup. Now let's take a closer look at Nadeau. As you can see, he's playing his role as a grinder well, despite his lackluster attributes, and even despite the fact my scouts think little of him. Some players are just like this and better than what they appear to be. Skipping ahead to the halfway point of the season, we're still in a very good spot, but we also continue to battle injuries to our defensemen. As usual, it's around this time that I start deciding who to extend, and I want to highlight Franklin Bailey here, who's growing impressively, so much so that he might be getting promoted next season. Another player to highlight is Pa Fredriksson, who would soon get a call-up after injuries to both Jake Anderson, again, and Jacob Bernard Docker. Meanwhile, it's looking more and more like the Ty Voigt experiment will have to come to an end after this season. As for unsigned prospects, I think this year the prize is a defenseman named Billy Barnes. Alexander Peden was a second-round pick from the very last draft, an over-age power forward I wanted to take a chance on. However, ever since drafting him, I've seen signs he'll be a problem. First, he refused to take part in training camp, and since then I've seen the occasional article about him pop up in the newsfeed for all the wrong reasons. It's for these reasons I'm cutting the experiment short, plus I've got plenty other promising right-wingers in the system. And now we've skipped ahead to the trade deadline. We're still in a very good spot, and our injured defensemen are coming back. In fact, I've already sent Emile Richer back down to Belleville. While we review these players' stats, I'll mention that I've been chatting with the GM of Arizona about finding Chabot a proper defense partner to play alongside. Unless the trade develops, this is the lineup for the final part of the season. And that player Arizona and I are discussing is Adam Boqvist. He's a right defenseman, but Arizona is using him as a forward, making him unhappy, and as you can see, he's a big upgrade on Coughlin. But Arizona is asking a lot. They want Dorowich and a first, second, and third that I found to be too much. I countered with an offer to add picks based on how far my team goes. I think I suggested Dorowich and a second as the base, but if we make the conference finals then I'd also send them a third, and if we make the championship then they also get the first two. Arizona didn't want to do those kinds of conditions, so they asked for Dorowich, a first, and a second, both in 2030, the next draft. I still didn't like it, but Boqvist fills a hole in my lineup that I've been trying to fill since last season. I decided that we're in a contending window here, and I can mortgage the future a little, so I took the deal. Then all hell broke loose among the other SHA GMs, and the trade got vetoed on the grounds that they think Dorowich is already of equal value to Boqvist, meaning the picks made the trade unbalanced. To be honest, I didn't disagree with this judgment, but I don't think that I could have talked Arizona down to accepting a lesser deal without the veto. We'd revised the trade to make it Boqvist for Dorowich, and a 2030 second, which I'm happy to live with. Of course the other GMs are still debating the trade, but I'll argue its dissenters are just unhappy that both Arizona and I have the pieces to pull off this kind of trade. I've got other left-wing prospects such as Siliga that I can turn to, and I must point out that until this season, not many were even thinking all that much of Dorowich. For example, remember what happened the last trade deadline. So I think I've proven that I've got the scouting skills to go out and find another prospect in the draft just like him. With that rant done and our lineup ready for the final stretch of the season, it's time to end the video. Boqvist would go on the top pairing with Chabot. Coughlin is now on the second pairing with Sanderson, with Cernak and Lajoie on the final pairing. Next time we get the 2029 playoffs and draft underway. Thank you for watching.